Hi, welcome back to another vlog that I am doing for Impact Teaching. So as you can see, I'm actually in a little bit of a different setting today, and that's actually because I'm going to be talking about places to travel in Poland. So I thought it's only fitting that I'm in one of the most picturesque areas of Warsaw, which is the Old Town. So I have so much to say about the different cities, so let's get straight into it, otherwise I'll talk for ages. So the first city I visited in Poland is obviously Warsaw, because this is where I landed. So basically there's two main aspects to Warsaw, and that is the Old Town as well as the centre. So the Old Town has been rebuilt. It actually got flattened, unfortunately, in World War II, just as most of Warsaw did, and they've rebuilt it to be almost identical to how it was before. And in the Old Town there's loads of traditional Polish food, there's loads of souvenir shops, there's just so many old buildings to see, and it's just really a really picturesque place to be. And it's also only a 20-minute walk from the main centre, where you've got the main train station, so you can get anywhere in Poland, and it's really cheap, really affordable and accessible in Poland compared to other places, especially my experiences in the UK. There's also big shopping centres and just lots of high street shops, so there's plenty to do in Warsaw to fill a long weekend. If you're not in Warsaw already, I would definitely recommend coming to visit it, or if you're thinking about where to live in Poland, I would definitely recommend Warsaw, just because you have such a good balance with the Old Town as well as the modern centre. There's loads of great places to stay in Warsaw as well, even on a budget. So we stayed in a few Airbnbs before I found my flat. And one of my favourite places we stayed was actually a hostel. It's the first and only hostel I've ever stayed in, but my friends, who are a bit more experienced travellers, also gave it great reviews. It's about £9 a night, and it's called Safe Stay Hostel. And the rooms were really clean. It has a nice bar area where you can meet new people, so it's great if you're travelling alone. It's a great way to make new friends, and also just a really nice place to stay. It's just down the road here, so really central to the Old Town, and as I said before, it's only a 20-minute walk to the centre, so the best of both worlds. So the first city I visited in Poland is Łódź, or Łódź. It's spelled L-O-D-Z, but I believe it's pronounced like Łódź or something like that. And it's actually the second biggest city in Poland. So Warsaw is the biggest city with 1.8 million people, I think. And then it's it's Łódź, Krakow and Wrocław, with around 755,000 people. And then you have the other cities with much less people living there. But yeah, so Łódź is the first city I went to, and I've been there a few times since because it is such a nice city. They have one main street called Petroska, and it's a really long picturesque street with loads of souvenir shops, as well as just like some high street shops. Most of the high street shops though are actually in a little kind of like a shopping village called Manufacturer, which has bowling, it has all the shops, it has loads of restaurants, and that's really close by to Petroska. So again, you've got loads of different aspects in one city. And Manufacturer is built in like old mill buildings, so it's really beautiful. And the main street is so nice, especially now it's getting closer to Christmas. You can walk along the street with your hot chocolate and all the Christmas lights. It's a really nice place to be. So Łódź is actually a 1.5-hour train journey from Warsaw, and tickets are around 31 zloty, so 62 zloty for return. And 31 zloty is like just over £5. It's like £6 or something, so really affordable. And yeah, I would definitely recommend visiting there. The second place I went to visit is actually Gdansk, which is quite a bit further away. It's around 3.5 to 4.5 hours on the train, depending on the ticket you get, but it's still really affordable to get there. I think it was like 60 zloty each way, so like just over 10, like maybe that's £12, so really affordable. So in Gdansk, again, you have one main street, which is kind of the Old Town street, because it's got all the old buildings, loads of souvenir shops. I definitely think it's more of a touristy spot, but I have no problem with that. It wasn't more expensive despite it being more touristy, just like with Warsaw Old Town actually. Although you'd think it might be a tourist trap, things are actually the same price. So the reason we went to Gdansk mainly was to see the seaside, because just a short Uber ride away from Gdansk is Sopot, which is the seaside town of Gdansk. And that's the bell in the old town. So just a short ride away is the seaside town, and they've got a really big sandy beach with a pier. It's really nice. There's swans at the beach as well, which was unexpected. And Sopot actually has a bit of a Disneyland feel to it, with all the shops and all the souvenir shops and all the fairy lights. And even though we went in November, so we couldn't make the most of the beach by swimming, it was still just a really nice place to visit. The next place I visited was Poznan, and Poznan is really nice as well, but unfortunately we went when the restrictions were fully in place, so although you could still travel and get food to take away, we couldn't go into the shops. Technically you weren't supposed to go into the shops in Gdansk, I think, but because it's more of a touristy destination, I don't think they were quite as strict with that. But in Poznan it was quite strict, so we mainly just walked around and saw lots of old buildings. They have loads of really nice cathedrals in Poznan, which was really nice to see, as well as just like the old square. And again, Airbnbs were so affordable. We stayed in an Airbnb with a balcony that was directly looking over the square, which was so nice. And Poznan is a similar distance away as Gdansk, about 3.5 hours on the train, with the same price as well, so still really affordable. Unfortunately, as I said, there were restrictions because we wanted to go to some museums. They have a croissant museum, they have loads of like science and history museums and things we wanted to visit, but unfortunately we couldn't this time, so maybe we will go back to visit when that's open. But even with the restrictions, there was still so much to see, lots of historic buildings, and I would definitely recommend Poznan as well. I do think the high street maybe isn't quite as developed as the ones in like Warsaw or Łódź. It is a bit more run down in some areas. So the city I went to most recently is Brotsworth, which, as I said, is the third biggest city in Poland, I think. And they have, like, again, an old town square, which was really nice. And they also have loads of big shopping centres. So I would say in that respect, it's the city that is most similar to Warsaw. So you've got, like, the old town with all the cute little, like, shops. And then you've also got these big shopping centres. And as the restrictions were just lifted, I definitely made the most of that. But yeah, there's so much to do in Brotsworth. There's also loads of cute restaurants in the old town and loads of things to make the most of. One fun novelty fact about Brotsworth is they actually have these little gnomes everywhere. One of the things you can buy from the souvenir shop is actually a map that tells you where all 214, I think, of the gnomes in Brotsworth are. Personally, we didn't follow that trail, but if that's what you're into, I'm sure that's really exciting. So yeah, they're the cities that I have visited so far. I honestly would recommend all of them. We did do a quick stopover actually in a city called Katowice on our way back from Wrocław. Katowice, on our way back from Wrocław to Warsaw to break up the journey. We stayed there for one night. There wasn't so much to do in that city. Again, there was shopping, but personally it wasn't my favourite city in Poland, but I have spoken to loads of people that really liked it. It was just a bit more quiet. So looking for a city where you can fill up a long weekend, I would definitely recommend Warsaw, Łódź, Gdansk, Wrocław. They're probably the four with the most things going on, so I would definitely recommend those four. And as I said, Airbnbs are super affordable and there's loads of great ones out there. You just have to do a bit of searching, or as I said, some hostels are also a good idea, and as I recommended, Safe Stay Hostel, just as I've stayed there before, so I know that one is quite nice. Yeah, so that's everything I have to say about the cities I've visited so far. I'm sure I could talk for hours about them, but I've tried to keep it quite short for you all. There's definitely more cities I want to visit whilst I'm in Poland. I really want to go to Krakow and see it, and obviously I really want to go to Auschwitz whilst I'm there. I think that's important to do whilst I'm in Poland. And also there's so many great tourist attractions in Krakow. I'm really excited, and maybe when I get there I can do a vlog showing you a bit more in depth, because I know that is one of the most popular cities in Poland. I also am going to Zakopane actually over the Christmas period with my friends that I've just met here whilst I've been teaching. I'm really excited for that, because obviously it's not possible to go home, unfortunately, just due to restrictions and travel quarantine and all that stuff. But I'm really actually excited to spend Christmas with my friends in a lovely snowy city. So I'll definitely try and get some footage of that, because I think that'll be very magical. So I'll hopefully talk a bit more about them in another vlog. But I really hope this has been helpful, whether you're in Poland and looking for ideas of where to go, or whether you're just getting excited when you eventually get here and planning some trips. Yeah, I really hope this has been helpful. Bye!